Welcome y bienvenidos to Presently Aquí, a podcast created just for you. A place to find tools, insights, and a gentle guidance to nurture your self love journey. Together, we'll connect with extraordinary healers from around the world, uncovering the wisdom and unique gifts that they share to help us lead healthier and more loving lives, starting with ourselves. And today we have Mike Reed. Hi, Mike. Welcome.
Hello there.
So excited to have you. Um, so I'm going to introduce Mike, and then Mike is going to lead us into a mini meditation. So Mike is a musician, sound healer, and founder of SoundQuest Academy, to be precise. With a background in drumming and guitar from the Musicians Institute in Los Angeles, Mike has merged his passion for music with years of study in counseling, personal development, and shamanic practices. He has led hundreds of transformative sound healing sessions for thousands of people, both locally and internationally. Through SoundQuest Academy, Mike empowers aspiring sound healers to turn their passion into a thriving business, guiding them with his signature programs, including the Sound Healer Business Blueprint and the Sound Healer Mastermind. His mission is to create deeper connections with and healing experiences through sound. I love that. Thank you, Mike. I'm so excited. Whenever you're ready to begin our meditation, then we can begin this wonderful conversation.
Sure, yeah, let's drop in.
Perfect.
I have this beautiful singing bowl with us, so I want to welcome everyone to this moment. Let's begin by taking a deep breath in, gently releasing it out. Allow yourself to arrive fully here, just as you are. Start to close your eyes. Bring your attention inward. Notice the rhythm of your breathing as it flows naturally in and out of your body. There's no need to change anything. Just feel it. To feel the support, the surface beneath you, your shoulders relax, your jaw soften, your hands rest gently wherever you feel most at ease. As you continue to breathe, imagine soft golden light radiating at the center of your chest. This light is a warm, steady, calm, like the sound, gentle drumbeat connecting you to your inner rhythm. As you inhale, imagine this light glowing brighter, filling your entire body with a sense of calm, relief. With each exhale, allow tension and stress or worry to melt away, releasing into the air around you. Just take a moment to simply be, to feel the gift, this present moment. Prepare to begin this conversation, this journey together. Bring to mind one word or intention you're going to carry with you today. Something like peace, clarity, connection. Hold that intention softly in your heart. One more deep breath in. Long, gentle breath out. You're already. Open your eyes. With you, the light, the stillness, attention from this meditation. Keep taking this moment to center yourself. Let's dive in.
Thank you, Mike. That was truly divine. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I love starting my podcast this way, so people listening can really integrate what we're about to talk about. And then we also are allowed to let go of the day and get into this space. So gratitude. So thank you for coming on, Mike. I'm really excited to have you and share your remarkable journey of sound healing. Something that came to mind while you were playing the sound bowl and doing the meditation. I've also am a musician. I know we discussed this in our chat, but how has sound healing, because it's such a different space, right, versus playing, singing, being in a band, performing, right? How has that shifted you from in your life, if at all, in a different way?
Oh man, where do I begin?
Mm.
This has just been a magic carpet ride.
Mm. Mm.
Just through this vehicle that I discovered for the first time maybe 10 years ago.
Ah.
It's taken me on this adventure that I couldn't have imagined when I started. I feel like I have an entirely different lifestyle, different network, different kinds of people that are in the wellness and healing and consciousness space.
Right.
And I've sort of separated myself from old patterns and um, an old lifestyle that wasn't serving me anymore.
Right.
And I feel like this has just put me on a whole new trajectory, and it's opened up portals to all kinds of interesting opportunities and experiences, and just this portal of sound healing has opened up a whole new reality for me.
Truly, I totally get that. For the listener, for someone who isn't well versed in sound healing, I've never been into a sound bath, right? Which is a must. What is something that you share with a beginner when they want to start this just like the experience of one sound bath, right?
Someone who just wants to come and be on the receiving end of sound healing.
Just as the receiving end, correct?
Yeah. So it might take some time to adjust to the experience if it's your very first time. You might be very much in your mind trying to figure out what is happening and is this going to work?
Right.
And who is this strange person that's guiding this experience and saying all these things, and so you might be very much in your mind and unable to allow the experience just to happen. If that happens for you, if it's your first time, my advice would just be to surrender to the experience and know that there's real science behind this, what's happening. The intention of a sound bath or sound healing with instruments such as gongs or a set of crystal singing bowls is to sort of emanate the full spectrum of sound. So what's happening on a physical, biological level is this full spectrum of sound. The human hearing range is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, around that range. And so when you have the full spectrum of sound and vibration frequency coming in all at the same time, it starts to entrain the brain waves. And so what we're in right now um, are awake, task orientated brainwave, right? Having a
Right.
conversation, sending emails, driving
Right.
in traffic, these things where we're like fully alert and awake. That's called the beta brainwave. And the brainwaves in a sound bath will start to slow down and bring you down into that theta brainwave zone, which is another way of saying meditation. So it's almost like this involuntary state of meditation is starting to occur. And you might even descend even lower to delta brainwave, which is uh, the sleeping brainwave. So you
Mm-hmm.
might fall asleep, might come back into meditation, right? And you're kind of oscillating in
Right.
between that meditative, sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
like non-sleep, deep rest state. And that's when the nervous system goes from the sympathetic side of the nervous system, right, to the parasympathetic
Yeah.
side of the nervous system, where you're in deep, deep rest. And that's when the body returns to homeostasis and the body's intelligence overrides the mind. The encumbrances of the mind are no longer in control, and the body's intelligence takes over and go through all kinds of self-healing processes through homeostasis.
And what types of benefits in the self-healing process as you're the receiver for, again, that amateur person? What are some of the things that you can share, express regarding the benefits that for some people? And I love how you brought up, the mind, the monkey mind, doubt, like, is this even thing? Does it
Mm-hmm.
even work, right? And I love always going with beginners because they always fall asleep, right? And that's always an indicator. But what are some of the benefits for those that are interested in joining as a receiver?
There's a wide variety of benefits, uh, and it can range from boosting the immune system
Mm-hmm.
function. It can, like I said, reset and recalibrate the nervous system, right? So if you have stuck energy, if you're um, in a stressed out state, right, or if you are um, needing to process some emotions, perhaps,
Right, right,
it's an opportunity for you to dive into that inner world of yours
right,
and to that inner garden, right?
right,
And
exactly.
start to realign your
Mm-hmm.
emotional body. You'll come out of this experience feeling much more clear. And I think the biggest benefit of all is to create a little bit of space between yourself and the external world, the external stimuli. Because a lot of people that have a dysregulated nervous system, they're walking around day to day being very reactive
Yes,
to things,
right.
very reactive, getting easily triggered if if someone cuts them off in traffic, or easily
Mm-hmm.
irritable and discontent
Mm-hmm.
and jammed in about all kinds of things, relational things,
Right.
work things, and life things, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if you practice, being on the receiving end of sound healing, or,
Yeah.
a meditation practice, or even a yoga practice, anything like this, where you create space between you and you tend to that inner world of yours,
Right.
then you come from a more creative place
Mm-hmm.
rather than reactive place when you're
Right.
going through your days,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that can
Yes.
change the whole trajectory of your life.
Truly, truly. That's a grand benefit, if
Mhm.
anything. That's out of we could sit here and talk about science truly, but everyone can also Google it. But I think more it's more of the when I say spiritual, right, the relationship with self.
Mhm.
And I love that you said creating space, so important, right? When we're not creating space within ourselves and we allow all the gunk outside just build in and build in. And
Mhm.
so while you were speaking, what I got an image of was like if this is you, the that person who's never had a sound bath, right? And with all their stagnant emotions, and right, the energies, and that is pulsating through, just allowing that to penetrate, to
Mhm.
right? and like help the stagnant emotions and energies that you have never released before. So also another thing that could happen at a sound bath is a cry. Lots of
Yeah.
crying does happen. Happened my first time when I moved to Los Angeles, and it just wouldn't stop. But because we're not noticing all the ways that we have this stuck energy, right? All these emotions that we don't know how to deal with or even notice that they're there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, very powerful sound healing. Highly recommended to everyone that may never heard of it or tried it and is curious. Just do the one time, and I would love to hear back. Reach out to Mike. But let's get into the transformative power of sound healing, right? As we're already kind of in this topic here. Um, it's transformed you, it's transformed me, it transforms us because, right? I feel like, let me know what you think, Mike. Because everything originates from sound, right? The sound of creation, right? The oming, the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of that, and how that is able to fully transform our lives. Um, so wanted to have like your feedback on have you when you do this kind of work, right? When you get into it and want to be uh, the sound healer, not the receiver. Now you're being the giver. Um, how has even for you the sound of creation to integrate that into your practice, right? Into how you're able to play this beautiful symphony of instruments.
Well, I think your question is, as a facilitator,
Hmm.
how has the power of sound, um, how have I seen the impact of the sound on others?
On others and also the way you play, right? Because I don't know if while you were a musician before you became a sound healer, if you had the awareness of the sound of creation, which is that ringing in our ears when it's truly silent and it's on always 24/7, right? I don't know if you had that awareness then
Mm-hmm.
versus now. I'm sure you do because that's part of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so how has that just having that awareness transformed how you are as a musician, right? Because it's still in that same space.
Right. So, you know, back in my previous career of, playing music for entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
I never realized how powerful sound and frequency actually is.
Right.
Before I was just doing it because it was fun
Mm-hmm.
and we perform on the stage and
Yeah.
and it was all about the entertaining the crowd and getting people to dance and that sort of thing. And that's all fun. And interestingly, it's coming back around full circle. I'm starting to come back a bit to more like the performative side of music, because I'm starting to incorporate song and singing and
Right.
guitar and playing. And I'm starting to collaborate with other musicians. I just did a bit of a concert last month on the stage in front of a pretty large crowd. And so I was like, oh yeah, it's like breathing new life back into that side of
Mm.
who I am,
Right.
because I've been away from it for quite some time.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm like, oh, I can have a whole new approach to
Mm.
music.
Right.
That I've had this sort of like foundational training now of sound healing that I can now channel all the experience and knowledge that I have with sound healing into um, song and
Right.
performance,
Mhm.
right? In a whole
Yeah.
new way.
Right.
Um, but when I'm, for example, in a sound bath and I work with the harmonium, and you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
the sound of creation and
Mm-hmm.
chanting things like the Om,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and I'll play that over the harmonium, and I'll project, I'll do vocal overtoning and chanting. And when I'm doing that, I am receiving the
Mm.
medicine myself too,
Mm. Wow.
right? So I come out of, even though I'm working, um, and focusing on creating this experience for other people,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still coming out of the experience like feeling healed
Right.
and feeling balanced.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
always wondered if you as you the facilitator, right? If it's also affecting you while you're doing your thing. I always wondered.
It sure is. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's
Sitting in front of the gongs for, 30 minutes, gonging myself.
right.
I'm like, whoa, I get my vibrational frequency
Right.
rises as well.
That brings me to this question. In the beginning, when you started your sound healing facilitations, right? Um, did you have moments as the facilitator of breaking down yourself, right? Crying, um,
Mm.
having releases, a healing process going on while you were facilitating?
That's happened, yeah. Yeah, I've
Mm,
had some emotional moments while playing,
right.
for sure.
Awesome. And do
Um,
you keep going, right? Do you stop or how did you um were able to manage the
yeah, I guess
emotional
just,
space?
I kind of have these like they get a little choked up sometimes, and I'll be playing the gong, but I keep going. I just,
Okay. Yeah.
the show must go on. So, these
Do you
people
still get
aim to
that
be there. I can't
sometimes?
just stop and have my own.
Right. Break down. Hold on, guys.
So yeah, I mean, things do come up. I did have I work in also alternative, healing spaces, ceremonial spaces
Right.
with, mind altering medicine,
Psychedelics. Mm-hmm.
psychedelics here and there. So I get brought in to do work with groups and I bring my sound healing skills into that experience.
Right.
Um, and I take like a facilitator dose for
I
myself.
like that. Right.
And so I'm kind of half in and half like
Mm-hmm.
being able
Mm-hmm.
to focus.
Truly. Right. Because you can't
Um,
be.
but I think maybe I took a little too much uh, one time,
Right.
and I full on went into a journey.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was wild, and I stayed on point though. I was able
Right.
to keep the ceremony,
Awesome.
moving along.
Right. Right. I'm sure that was a session you can never repeat again. It
Hmm.
was right, the whole everything, the experience, the
Hmm.
playing and
It
what's
was actually
happening.
beautiful. I really needed that, and I think that me opening up like that actually, you know, um, gave allowance for the group I was working with
Mm,
to, you know,
right.
open up even more and go a little
Trust,
later, a little
right?
deeper. Yeah.
Hmm. That is important, right? The trust, especially when you're having mind altering substances. Um, it especially for a group who's never or is just beginning, right? It's still kind of scary, right, for a lot of people to surrender
Mhm.
in general. So
Mhm.
it's nice, I'm sure, to watch the facilitator like, oh no, that we're all in this together. It's a community healing journey.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's truly remarkable. I love that. Um, Something you said that I had a question. It left me, so maybe for later. I see that you wanted to talk about which is important, obviously, vulnerability in your healing process, right?
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna ask this as a masculine for your brethren. Do you feel they find it difficult to come into that vulnerable space as they heal? Or not to say that as feminine, we're more in touch with our emotions. Obviously, we're
Mhm.
gonna just I can cry for you right now, but for our brethren that are needing this more so than ever, right, to really trust and surrender and be in that vulnerable space, and more so with a brother, right? I feel more a little bit safer. What is your experience with that?
Right. Yeah. Well, 80% of my clientele and 80% of my following is uh, women, female.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah, it's a little more rare to
Mm-hmm.
men show up in these spaces.
Right.
But there is a large and growing community of men that are, experiencing the benefits of opening up like that in
Mm-hmm.
safer
Mm-hmm.
containers where,
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability is acceptable.
Right.
right? Because a lot of men have been conditioned
Right.
through our
Right.
culture,
Right.
through, you know, whatever they've been through
Mm-hmm.
in their lives,
Yes.
high school,
Truly.
sports
Mm-hmm.
teams,
Mm-hmm.
workplaces,
Mm-hmm.
got to keep your, uh, um, you got to be that invulnerable masculine type,
Right.
in this competitive world, right?
Truly. Truly. And
And that there is a time and a place for that, right?
mm-hmm.
I still think that it's
Absolutely. Yes.
necessary to keep the armor on
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
places, a lot of
Surely.
spaces. But if you have a container where, you feel like that's a safe place to let it out.
Right.
There's lots of amazing organizations for men that I've experienced, like things like the Mankind Project or,
Mm-hmm.
um, the Sterling Men's Weekend down there in California. I think it's in San Jose every year.
Nice.
Um, and there's all kinds of men that are coming together, uh, behind closed doors in these
Mm-hmm.
safe
Of
containers
course. Of
to
course.
really open up. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I'm hosting an event in 2 weeks in Vancouver here in Canada, and specifically for men. We're going to create a beautiful container for that type of experience. And there's a lot of us men that are
Mm-hmm.
um, craving that connection,
Surely.
right? And
Yes.
and
I mean, I
when you
hear it.
circle up like that and you get
Mm-hmm.
together with other men
Right.
and you realize like you're not alone, you don't have to be a lone wolf in the world.
Surely.
It's a
Yes.
real it takes a lot of weight off, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very empowering. It's very empowering.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. And it's truly important to, I thank you ahead of time because we need more of those things. For an energy reader, I can feel it. It's not even like I can hear it. It's like I can feel the tension and it's just building in the masculine collective and the cry is so big, right? So moving into 2025, we'll release this podcast then. I know you're gonna have more events coming up anyhow, but moving into this new energy that we're going into and you again having closer ear to what the brothers are needing, right? What do you think, what do you foresee for 2025 as a collective of the masculine to come into self slowly, right? With these safe containers, which I love how you worded that, these safe containers only with you, right? Because that's what is needed. That companionship, that understanding of each other, right? How do you see 2025 shifting a little more for our brethren needing safe containers such as what you're creating?
Yeah, I think it's just going to keep building momentum and starting to spread more and more. I think
Mm.
we're going to start seeing the normalization of from that.
Oh my God, that's gonna be spectacular. Truly, I can't wait. It is something that I am very passionate about. I don't speak on it because I know my boundaries. I'm on this side of the fence, but I have concerns, right? I want us to rise together, heal together, and but it is really remarkable to watch all these other men groups that I have followed and interviewed some men as well, in that space to just finally see what has been desperately been needing for our brothers. So I thank you for that work because it is important, truly.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. Well, before I move on, what advice, if any, for any men out there that may be listening? My audience is pretty broad. Any man out there listening, that may have they have curiosity, but apprehension at the same time to come into one of these sound spaces.
Yeah, the it's funny. I see some men showing up on their own, which is beautiful to see.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, they're being kind of brought out by their wife or their girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on like a date night or something.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and it's still great. But I think it's like a nice gateway
Mm,
opportunity.
I like that. Yes.
It's like a gateway to what else is possible if you want to go deeper. It's like a nice introductory experience
Right, right.
to go into a path of working on your inner world and uh,
Hmm.
bringing the subconscious to the conscious.
Yes, yes.
And it's a great you know what would you call it? It's a great introductory experience.
Yeah, I like that, how you said gateway. Just like, oh, I'm here because of my date or my girlfriend, my wife. I'm just
Mm.
here. It's a great excuse.
Uh,
So
and
definitely use
I love
it.
when the men come and they come up to me afterwards and
Mm,
they tell me things like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into,
right.
but thank you so much. That was amazing.
I love
And
that.
that's really the most enriching part of the work that I do is
Yeah.
that seeing people response.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe, in this world that's so full of distractions, phones, the media, there's endless things that are pulling our
Yeah.
mental bandwidth around,
Right.
which takes us away from our being in our power, being in our center.
Yes.
And so giving someone a moment of pause, giving someone some time, like 90 minutes, to just lay there and rest and receive without distraction can really have a huge impact because
Hmm.
maybe they haven't done that in years,
Right. Or
right?
even just to receive.
Right, right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's the masculine energy is all about doing
Hmm.
and achieving, right?
Right.
And sometimes we forget that it's actually productive to rest sometimes.
Yes. Truly.
Taking
Right. To
carving
feed.
that time out to
Mhm.
rest, to meditate,
Right.
to tune inward,
Hmm.
it has a huge quantum effect.
Mm, it does. It's feeding the feminine aspect of the masculine.
That's right, right. There needs to be a balance.
It has to be a balance, right? It's just been so off, but here we are, and really, just again, to be where we are with our brothers today, just even today, and forget what's going to happen in the future is a big deal, right? Coming from even the generation before us, right? Our parents, our fathers, who are none of this, they don't know about sound baths, and at least not for my community, Latinos. Like, I mean, the only music we know is the one we're gonna dance to when we're drunk from parties. It's not,
Mhm.
you know the healing space. So it is remarkable to shift that within just a generation. I mean, we've all done such a big, massive shift on coming into self and helping heal others. But the masculine, I'm just enthralled to see how our brothers are gonna heal and shift the world, because it really starts with you as you lay the foundation, and we're the chaos on top of the foundation, right? So we need
Mm.
you to lay that foundation that is lacking in the world, and you as a facilitator of healing, especially for the men. And I'm excited to hear how your event goes in 2 weeks with them, because it's just beautiful to even just to hear the shifts that go on, right? The reverberations through them affect us women. I can
Mhm.
feel you just doing that and just be in awe about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly, truly. So let's get into some daily practices and tools for self-healing, with sound healing, right? Because a lot of people think that they need tools, right? I need to buy these crystal sets and the gong and the.
Mm.
What are your suggestions?
Well, if you are working with instruments just for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you're not facilitating an experience
Right.
for others. Yeah, it can be as simple as just one Tibetan singing bowl. I use that uh,
This little guy?
exactly where it is. And so that can be a way of bringing yourself back to the present moment. If you are, say you want to have a meditation for 20 minutes. If your mind is starting to wander and you can't bring
Mm,
yourself back to center,
right.
right, and be more like the mind behind the mind, the observer of thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and you get wrapped up in your thoughts and then it
Mm-hmm.
triggers emotions and that sort of thing, you can use that bowl just to, bring yourself back to the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And as someone who's never used it, right? Because this situation could be difficult for some, right? What do
Yeah,
you what do
yeah. I
you
mean,
suggest?
I would suggest just striking, simply just striking.
Just
I would strike it from the outside on an angle. Right.
like such?
Yeah, maybe just like,
I
yeah,
see what you're saying.
but with
Mm.
those wooden mallets, sometimes they're felt. They have a felt surface. It's
Mine,
a
I
little bit
know.
of a softer
Mine didn't
impact.
come with it. I know. I'm upset. I need to get a new one because I was
But
like,
for those, the wooden ones, those are designed to,
for the
exactly, to, there you go. You got it.
yeah, that took me a little bit when I first got it. I'm like, how to? But it is, even when I'm home, I have it here in my workstation. I also have a full-time job and, my side gig here. I have it here just for moments where I can feel it getting stuffy in my workspace. And I'll
Hmm.
just hit it, like you're saying, the one time and just take a deep breath and be like, okay,
Yeah.
good.
It can be very simple. You
Hmm.
can acquire a gong,
Hmm.
like I would recommend, a gong that maybe the size of a 32 to 36 to 40 inches with a gong stand and just
Hmm.
sitting in front of it and closing your eyes and just
Right.
striking it and building a relationship with the gong.
Mm-hmm.
That can be an active meditation.
I like that active meditation. Very important for those of them out there that have a hard time closing their eyes and doing the
Mhm.
other.
And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing I like to do
Mm-hmm.
is having a shruti box. And like I was saying earlier, chanting with the
Mm-hmm.
om.
The Om.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that can really, it's also kind of breath work at the same
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yes.
And so you're vibrating your whole body. In fact, the voice, there's a book uh, by Jonathan Goldman. And yeah, The Seven Secrets of Sound Healing.
Mm-hmm.
He has a few books out.
Okay.
Um, but he talks about how the voice is actually the most potent sound healing instrument that we
Mm-hmm.
have,
Right.
and
Right.
it's inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
So if we use the voice using certain techniques,
Right.
we can resonate the entire body. We can
Mm.
heal ourselves just with our voice. It's
Right.
fascinating.
It is fascinating. Yes, I was telling Mike when we first conversed, I was asking him, what's the difference? Is this more powerful? Is this? And he was saying how he combines the two when if anything, it helps pronounce it more as you're also vocally doing it, right?
Hmm.
Something you were saying that it stayed with me, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And for people who, right, because some of these tools, this is probably the most inexpensive tool you can get, and or the Buddhist bells. I have those as well.
The
They're
tincture
probably,
girls, yeah.
yeah, they're probably less than 40, either one. Um, so this is a good place to start. But with the voice, I wanted to get into it a little bit. What are some good practices people can begin with the Om? How would you suggest they start with the Oming, right? Because
Mm.
I mean, you and I know, but you are the expert here.
Right, yeah. I would recommend you can get a harmonium, or even uh, better would be a shruti box to
Mm-hmm.
start. Shruti box is this Indian instrument. It's maybe about 1 foot wide
See
or
if I can
so,
find it.
and you can
Shruti
tune it
box. Mm-hmm.
to certain keys, your certain notes, right? And then you just squeeze the air through it,
Mm-hmm.
and it will give you that foundational drone of that key, and then you can start to chant over top of it, right?
Yes,
And
I'm looking for
sing
an image
different
so I can.
chants. And yeah, exactly. That's exactly
Mhm.
what it is. That's the Shruti box.
Yes.
And it just helps you carry your voice and keep your voice at a certain pitch, a certain
Mm,
frequency,
mm-hmm.
and it's just good support for your voice
Right,
while you're using your
right,
voice.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. What are some simple techniques people can start using sound healing in their everyday lives? A busy person who doesn't have a lot of time.
Some you can use different types of binaural frequencies. That's another fascinating
Mm-hmm,
topic.
mm-hmm.
Binaural
That
beats.
is, I love that
And
topic. Yes.
they have all kinds of tracks that you can get on Spotify nowadays or
Mm-hmm,
YouTube, and you can listen to these binaural frequencies. One frequency is going at a certain hertz or cycles per second,
mm-hmm,
and the other one's going a little bit in a dissonant,
mm-hmm,
syncopated um,
mm-hmm.
hertz, right? So there's
Right.
two different frequencies that are happening, and that it's really good for brainwave entrainment,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yes.
sometimes if I want to have a boost of energy, say it's like 2 p.m. in the middle of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm having like a bit of an energy slump, and I want to uh, recharge and reset my nervous system and come back, be able to focus.
Right.
I think this would be a huge productivity hack for
Mm-hmm.
companies if they encourage like their employees to do like a midday
Mm-hmm.
um, binaural theta nap. So you can do
Yeah.
theta brainwave binaural frequencies, listen to them, lie down, close your eyes, maybe put an eye mask on,
Yes. Having
and
those little
then
cubbies at work that you can have those. I love that.
yeah, and then you can
Mm.
just lie down, rest, and go into this non-sleep deep rest and recalibrate the nervous
Right.
system
Right.
and go into a theta state, theta
Mm-hmm.
brainwave, like I was talking about,
Yes.
and you come out of it like feeling great,
Mm-hmm.
right? Feeling
Yes.
reset.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way. And so instead of trying to play an instrument yourself and get the benefits, it's kind of a little, it can be a little bit uh, difficult to receive the benefits when you are actively playing an instrument.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's better to be on the receiving end and just
Right. Right.
lying
And
and
just
receiving.
laying right and being.
So there's lots of really beautiful binaural beats and frequencies that you can tap into on Spotify or YouTube that you can put in your headphones and lie down and rest and receive.
What's your opinion on solfeggio frequencies on YouTube?
Yeah, those can be same idea,
Mm-hmm.
same, it's just as
Yes.
effective.
Yep. Yep. It's a good way
But
to.
there's a misnomer, I think. I think there's like a misconception about like you hear about these frequencies like 528 hertz
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or you know
Right.
these frequencies this will universally like
Right.
um,
Right. It always comes with the title like 528
yeah,
inner child healing. I don't know.
right,
It could be right, right,
and
right.
then you see these like singing bowls that are like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this one's for the root chakra, this one's for the crown chakra, and I don't really believe in that. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it's necessarily like universally across every single human being this
Right.
particular frequency is going to have that same effect on
Hmm.
the full system.
Because we all have a different energy resonance, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's
So I think it's
magical.
kind of a marketing thing,
Yes.
honestly.
Yes, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because again, like if let's say someone who's never done sound healing versus someone who has the root chakra, let's just start even whatever the frequency may be for that won't work for the it won't do right. There's no this person's resonance, what I'm saying is not as open and not magnified or have yeah, it hasn't opened the flower of the red, right? It hasn't, so how can it receive the healing that this other person's root chakra has opened up to? It's what I'm gathering from what you're saying.
Mhm.
And yeah, I like that. just be wary of these things. I would suggest to not look at the title. I would suggest because there's so many channels also and so many. Gosh, I've seen it all, and there's one that I truly enjoy. It's Inner Lotus is the channel.
Mm,
They're very consistent.
mhm.
I would suggest just to play. Don't worry about what it says. Just pick one and see how it feels. It as it's reverberating in your home. And if you can't sit with it, great. If you can't, that's fine too, because that's also, again, right, going back to the healing space when you've never allowed yourself to sit with that. So it can be a little bit much if you, again, if you have the monkey mind, if you've never allowed to settle for a moment. So just definitely give yourself some grace. If that's the word here, it's just give yourself grace as you're starting any sound healing or any healing journey. Just to even begin with, just giving yourself grace. And again, kind of like for me with yoga, which I'm sure you know, yoga is not competitive for a reason because we all have different bodies,
Mhm.
right? We can't all do handstands or headstands. Like some of our bodies can't do certain moves. It's just we're built different. So the
Right.
same idea with the frequencies, we're all in a different resonance. So just take it lightly and slowly um, with these things because we don't want you to shock you and like you know. Actually, have you ever had an experience like that, Mike, with someone who's never done anything to heal and just kind of comes to your sound bath and has a negative effect? Is that a possibility?
I wouldn't refer to it as negative because a lot of times people get what they need,
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
not necessarily what they expected,
Right,
right? So some people come to the sound bath events that I do, and they expect it to be this, really
mm-hmm,
nice,
mm-hmm.
relaxing spa-like
Right,
experience, which it can be, and
right,
it is that way for a lot of people, where they come out of it like feeling restored and relaxed and centered. But other people, I always say that, if I'm doing a room with 30 people,
mm,
there's going to be 30 different experiences happening all at the same time. It
right,
depends what they're coming in with to begin
right,
with,
right.
right? And so
Truly.
if someone has some sort of like unresolved emotional clutter that
Mm,
is,
mm.
stuck in their system,
Yeah.
um, that might be the place. It's actually likely the most likely place where those emotions are going to
Right,
come to the forefront and be
right.
processed and moved. So someone
Mm-hmm.
might be lying there feeling irritable and discontent, and they expect it to um, be like put in,
Zen, right?
put into a Zen-like state, but it's
Mm,
experiencing the opposite. Well, that's probably necessary.
truly.
It's
Mm-hmm.
probably what they need
Yes.
to experience, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then what happens is the mind comes online and they start to think, oh, I'm not doing this right. Oh, this was like,
Mm-hmm.
waste of time, or
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is just like I want to get up and get out of here because they're being confronted with themselves,
True.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And that can be overwhelming for
True.
people.
Yes. As a first time never having that experience. Yes.
Yeah. And
So, mhm.
even me as a sound healing facilitator, I've been on the receiving end of sound healing and had very challenging emotions come to the forefront.
Mm.
But then afterwards, I was grateful that those things came up because I was shown aspects of uh, like maybe my shadow that I hadn't been
Yes.
addressing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Right.
oh, this has been like, it was shining a light in like the dark corner of the attic of my subconscious mind.
Right. And I like that because what I just gathered from what you said right now was imagine you always being in the dark and having a light for the first time. It can't be uncomfortable, right? It's like, what's happening? What is this? So I love that. And also thank you for the correction. As that I don't want to say negative isn't a bad thing. It's just what the polar opposite, what could happen, right? Because our mind could psych us out. And we hear everybody's like, oh my God,
Mm,
Sabbath said everything. But again, if you've never encountered self, that can be just as just like that was just terrible.
mm.
Right? Because even with these mental substances, these psychedelics and such, even just as marijuana, people have bad experiences, right? And I tell people predominantly with the easiest one, marijuana, cannabis, as a mental facilitator, I tell them, well, you have a hard time with that because, um, especially the paranoia, and you've never really allowed yourself to be with your mind. And now your mind is like, oh,
Yeah.
doing all the things that you've never had it. It's kind of like you unlatched it a little bit and you were not prepared for what was going to happen. It kind of ran and you didn't have the reins on the brain, and it kind of became scary, and a lot of people never touch cannabis again, right?
Mhm,
So it is just knowing where you are.
mhm.
It's truly helpful when you come into these healing spaces because unfortunately cannabis is a healing space, but we're in a consumption economy where it's just a thing to do versus a healing space because it is also quite such as um in that space too. So uh wanted to get into a little bit before we wrap up about your programs. And where do you see sound healing going moving forward now that we're all shifting into this beautiful, powerful dynamic as a collective?
I think sound healing, the power of sound healing, when I first started doing this,
Mm,
it was it felt like I was at the beginning of this wave that has been building and building, building over.
yes.
And now I just see sound healing, sound bath events everywhere, every city, all over the world.
Yes.
Europe, Australia, United
Hmm.
States, Canada. It's sound healing
Hmm.
is happening everywhere. There's kind of this explosion of it
Right.
happening, and um, I think it's just going to keep going. And
Hmm.
newer technologies are going to come out, and
Hmm.
it's just going to be a part. I think who said this? Albert Einstein, I think, said the future of medicine is vibration and
Hmm.
frequency.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I
Yes.
really believe
Truly.
that. I believe that there's
Hmm.
there's proof that um, they can dissipate cancerous tumors with
Hmm.
frequency,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So it might be a cure for cancer, sound
Yes.
and
Yes.
vibration.
Yes.
Um, it's amazing the power of
Hmm.
everything in the universe is vibrational,
Right.
right? Everything. If you zoom in close enough to
Hmm.
everything, nothing is solid.
Nothing. All the
And
atoms are
everything
vibrating.
is
Hmm.
in constant vibration,
Constant.
right?
Yes.
And so it's just once people keep catching on to the power of all this, it's just going to
Hmm.
become more and more and more mainstream,
Truly.
more and more accepted as a
Yes.
medicine.
Hmm.
And in terms of my academy, I have my three programs that I offer
Right.
currently. I have the introduction to sound healing, which is
Hmm.
just your foundational understanding of the science, the theory, the application. Has instrument tutorials. It has playing techniques and all that sort of thing. Very foundational. Then I have the Sound Healer Blueprint, and this is a program that I've built because this is what I wish that I had when I first started out, which is someone that could just show me how to streamline my path to becoming successful.
Yes. Very important. Right.
Instead of doing all this trial and error trying to figure it out by yourself, you
Right.
have someone who's gone down the path before you and can
Hmm.
show you exactly what to look out for and what
Right.
to do instead of making all kinds of mistakes.
Right.
And so This Sound Healer Business Blueprint course
Love
is for
that.
anyone that wants to do sound healing
Hmm.
for full-time living to turn
Right?
it into an actual career and a
Mm.
business, or it's a really amazing part-time side hustle, I guess you could call it.
Right?
Because instead of like something like massage therapy or um, Reiki or acupuncture and these sort of practices, you can use sound and vibration and work on a whole big number of people all at once
Yes.
rather
Right?
than just working one on one with someone. You look at it,
That's a
when
great
you
point.
hire as a business, then you're actually going to be helping more people because you
Yes.
have a structure
Right?
and you're going to be serving more people and impacting more people in a positive way with this. And at the same time, you're also able to, in terms of your time in for dollars out,
Right?
it's very efficient because in the same amount of time as a massage therapist would make, let's say, $120 for an hour massage,
Yeah.
you'd be making like $1,500, $2,000 because you're charging, let's say, $50 per
Mm-hmm.
person and you have
Mm-hmm.
30 people in the room, right?
Yes.
And if you figure out what I figured out in terms of how to create a circuit of these events
Mm-hmm.
in different locations, different partnership venues
Right?
in your region, you can really make this quite a lucrative thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so my course has everything, the foundations of sound healing, all kinds of tutorial videos on a whole wide variety of instruments. But then it takes it a step further and it brings you into how to turn this into a business, the marketing, how to create landing pages to market your events, how to
Right?
partner with strategic venues, how to create multiple income streams, and how to turn all this into like a well-oiled machine so that it
Yeah.
exceeds and it matches and exceeds your monthly income
Mm.
and lifestyle costs,
Right?
right? Because we live in an economic reality, right?
Truly. Yes.
So if you want to escape from the matrix, if you're that you are
Right?
not happy with,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to find a system that replaces that income and puts you in a position where you are um, passionate and in love with what you're doing for work and helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's what the Sound Healer Blueprint course is all about. And then I have my Sound Healer Mastermind program, which is a full year of mentorship where I'm walking alongside of you the entire time,
Wow.
showing you exactly how to be really successful and level and create a six-figure per year income.
Right? I love that. As speaking personally, that sounds like a dream.
Right?
Right? Just healing people, if that's what's calling to you. Um, Definitely, I would highly suggest that all the sound baths that you facilitated that I've received, it's healing every time. Um, and also, every facilitator has their own resonance, right? When they're playing and their
Mm-hmm.
energy, and
Yeah,
it's a different song every time, right? So that's also
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
magic, right?
And I teach that in my course as well. Like I call it "What's in Your Medicine Bag,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's all
That's right.
about creating, your signature style and your branding around basically what you have experience with already in your life's resume, and how to
Yes.
channel all of that through your experiences and offer it out into the room. And it's going to be completely unique to who you are. So it's
Right.
like an extension of your true essence, what
Yes.
you're offering.
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah, that's really, really great. I love the blueprint. Great name. Makes sense. Because it is, I'm sure because you started when, like you said, the wave barely just began. So you were like, let me try this, and trying to figure it out. And you finally like, oh, this is what works.
Hmm.
And having that wisdom of the years of experiences that you've had is worth your guidance and your time to have that versus just trying to figure it out by yourself because there's no need. A lot of us have done the work for everyone to just come in and just like, hey, I know where you can start here, 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 and here how we can go from there as well.
Yeah, you can literally condense years into weeks by
Mm-hmm.
taking my course. It's
Amazing.
going to save a lot of time and just streamline
Right,
everything
right.
for you.
Exactly, exactly. Mike, what is your favorite thing about doing what you do, aside from the obvious, which is healing other people? But what is it that brings you joy as you do this beautiful practice?
I just think the lifestyle of it. Like today,
Mm,
I was up on the mountain snowboarding. Last night I had a sold out event, and I
mm,
made more money in an evening than I used to make an entire 40-hour work
right,
week
right,
at my old job.
right.
And I get to, be surrounded by incredible people,
Mm, mm,
and my network is growing, and other opportunities are arising, and portals are opening, and people are, genuinely grateful for,
yes.
being in the room with me. They're coming up and thanking me afterwards, and all of that is just, it's just creating a really beautiful lifestyle, and starting to see this really good kind of upward spiral, kind of
Hmm.
positive momentum.
Beautiful. Blessings to you, Mike. That's beautiful. Um, I mean, the only reason the upward spiral is because you've surrendered and you've heed the call and you show up and you continuously show up. And so, what else is there to do but to keep blessing you?
Right, yeah, and I think it's really important for people to get on their healing journey, um, because you might find some real gold in that, some real,
Mm,
value in terms of not only your transformation, but how you can use that transformation to help others, right?
yes, yes. Your pain is the doorway to helping others.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But
Your
so some of it
unique
heal it.
yeah, your unique traumatic experience is the door
Mm.
to helping yourself and others. And I think all of us just kind of look back and be like, oh, that's what all the ways we've heard gurus and, all the ways to heal. And we're like, oh, that's what they mean by healing our trauma will help heal others, right? That's the way through it. That's the only way. Um, but thank you, Mike. And I was gonna ask you, but I don't know if you had anything else. I was gonna say if there's one message that you had for our listeners today, what would that be?
Mm. I would say maybe I'll quote Carl Jung.
Mm,
He said,
mm.
until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life. You'll call it fate. And I think that's so true.
Mm, mm, that's
So
a great way to end this.
keep excavating that inner world, and
Yes,
find your goal.
truly, truly, right? Because as we're excavating, you don't know what we're gonna find. You don't know the aspects of yourself that you're going to adore and just be in love with yourself. It's the craziest, beautiful, most remarkable journey. And you know, this is what this is what happens when you heed the call, right? You either sound healing or teaching mindfulness to children, it's going to show up however your gift is supposed to reflect out into the world. But like most of the people that come on here, everyone just like shut the noise, get inside and just listen, right? Because even the invitation in this entire podcast is, have you ever been quiet enough to even hear the sound of creation that's on all the time? A lot of people haven't. A lot of people never heard that sound. And usually the best time is when you're in bed and it's quiet at night. It's quiet in the city where you're at. It's even more prominent. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. It's there and it's a blessing. So thank you, Mike, for coming on here again. And gosh, I have 1,000 questions, but there'll be more times, and we can have other topics talking about healing and all the other. Because I wanted to get into not only the binaural, but the psychedelics and that type of journey as well. So bookmarking for another time.
I'd be
Uh,
happy to come back on. And
Truly, I
yeah, I
am.
really enjoyed the
Yes,
conversation. So thank you,
yes.
Claudia. Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. That meditation really set the tone. I'll say that much.
Well,
It
that was
did.
good. That was my first time doing an opening like that for a podcast.
Yeah, I noticed that in the beginning, like how, because even I was nervous when I first started, and how to calm myself. How do I, and I would trip over my words and my introductions and stuff like that. And I thought, well, what is the best way to start a day? So what's the best way to start anything, right? It's just recalibrating the space and
Yeah.
then go forth. And so, um, thank you for that meditation and your time, your energy, your light, all the work that you do. I look forward to being a receiver of your magical sound healing because I know you have time down here sometimes, and
Mm.
if you ever have an event, please, I'd be happy to come through and support.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
definitely thinking about a West Coast tour.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, coming up
that's a
for
good one.
sure.
That's a good one. Thank you, Mike, again for your time, and all the listeners out there. Thank you again for collaborating with us and listening and holding space for us to have these beautiful conversations. And I hope there was some beautiful nuggets that you're able to take away or share it with someone who you know that could possibly, you know, take those nuggets with them. Just anything that might be helpful to their healing journey. Please do share, as this is a community and we're here to help each other and hold hands as we go forth, and just let everyone know, hey, you're not alone. We're all here.
Mhm.
So thanks again, and remember everyone that the breath is the secret, and always lead with love. And until next time, we will see you then. Thank you all.